Back on the garage today. Before I do the top plenum, just want to get all this stuff out. The fresh air vent, but it's hitting the heater box, and I'm still working on trying to figure out how that comes out because I've never done one before and I haven't found any good videos on the YouTube. And this whole thing is, hang on, this whole kick panel is an assembly, so I'm limited on the amount of movement to get this out without busting anything. I want to work on just getting that heater box out because it has to come out anyways because it's nasty and rotted, and mice made a home in there for quite some time. So I'm going to work on getting this out. We'll see how that process is, and then I should be able to get this passenger side fresh air vent out, and then I'll jump over into the driver's side. All right, let's get after it. So far only the nuts on the front side of the firewall that are visible on the engine side have been taken off, and then this top vent goes up into on the lower side of the dash here. There's these holes right here, and there's just a little metal I guess flanges that stick down. These slide up and then they just get bent over, so all I did was straighten them out, and then this came down. Now I'm trying to figure out what else is holding in this heater box, because if I give it a firm tug, not much is happening. So more towards the driver's side, it's loose. Still feels like it's hung up on something. Not much coming from the passenger side hinge pillar, but it doesn't look like there's any other fasteners holding it. Alright, I think I found the culprit. Learning experience, like the document. So the original cover that was on here had nuts all the way around. I took that off. I figure that was the only thing holding the box to the firewall because all the studs were exposed. But underneath these like rubber gaskets, there's the nut that holds the heater box to the firewall. And then obviously when the other cover on the engine side goes on, then there's another nut. So 2 nuts used, that stud, it appears. With all the gunk and garbage on here, I didn't see it until I was hitting stuff with a hammer. But all right, we got it figured out now. So we're just gonna pop off these grommets if they'd come off. Son of a gun, you. All right. See, there's not one up here. It's kind of weird. So only in a few locations. I guess it looks like here and here only. And that was probably at the factory to kind of make it hands-free after it's installed, kind of just hold it in place. And then when the cover goes on, that's the rest of your fastening. All right, I learned something. I think they call those quick nuts or something. This heater box is gross. Oh, there we go. Yeah. It's a little soft up in there. Soggy bottom, boys. All right. Well, let's keep pushing. We'll see what happens. Oh. Probably hitting something on the inside. Man, this stuff's gross. Got the interior blanket. That'll be junk. Push all that down. It's kind of hanging up on the studs right now. Hold that there. Get out of there. Alright, I'm going to go on the inside and kind of see what I'm crashing into. Yeah, looking good. So pushing back on this is hitting the glove box, It looks like all I gotta do is open up the glove box, and then all the screws are on the inside. Take all those off, glove box should come down. Heater core should come out. I'll see how all the cables and stuff that are linked to the HVAC, how all that disconnects. So I took out, you can see where all the screws go in, just around the perimeter in there. This is like cardboard. And this just dropped right down. Make sure to keep track of all the screws. Now we got plenty of room to try to get this box down. Just a little hung up. Oh. All right. So here's that top vent. Stick that over there for now. I'm waiting for a mouse to run out. So I got a connector up here on top. So I got that connector. I got to disconnect this cable. And then it's kind of cool. They got red on here, green on the other one. That was probably for airproofing. And then the other one's blue over there to know where they go in the vehicle during assembly. Ask me how I know. Alright, so I'm going to disconnect those, disconnect this, and this heater box should come out. Stay tuned. I got the box down. You can see you got red, green, and blue. The blue one went towards the driver's side, and then the green one, and then the red one went over here. You can see, and there's where the connector was. So I'm gonna put the screws back in where they were, and then there was a little, you can see right, try to get the weight behind it right there. The little star washer that goes over to hold it on. One was missing, and the other one flew somewhere. I'm not sure where it went. So I'll pull this out and figure out what's behind here. It's probably going to be a catastrophe. Start cleaning out all this stuff. Now I can get this out. Should have plenty of room. And then I think on the other side I got to take down the parking brake. Okay, now that's out of the way. See if this will. There we go. Oh. All right, that's out. Yeah, I don't know how the hell you do that with the heater box still in. Jeez. What a crap design. So this is sealed from the inside. There's nothing shingling any of the water. You get one little pinhole and bloop, she's going in. And they say they don't make them like they used to. It's a good thing. You know, these cars look way the hell better than anything today. All right. Success. As I'm taking stuff out, I'm just gonna start labeling it. So I labeled the HVAC connector and the rest of the harness going over towards the passenger side. Disconnected that, so I want to get all this stuff down. So for I'll call this the HVAC module with all your controls. So I disconnected it. Hopefully the camera can see it from that angle. Disconnected that, and I'm gonna drop this down underneath the IP harness. Nope. There. Keep all these here. They even labeled on the bottom for which cables. The colored cables are for like a visual reference. It's a kind of like a level of airproofing. That there. I don't know where any of this other stuff goes. They must have went to the cluster. So this main IP harness comes up and over. So I'm gonna feed this back out this way. So actually this loops up. I'm not gonna be able to do this, at least just yet. All right, so I got a few things I have to disconnect. Yeah, I got several things. So I'll just talk through it. So the key will go with it. The ignition switch. And then, so this comes down, splits off. One goes to the it's like a switch that goes down to the gas pedal. What the hell was that? Try to get in from this side here. So the harness travels down here to a couple things. So I got to disconnect that. And then I should be able to feed the harness back over, lay it down, and then cover it up. Pretty neat. Focus. That there looks like a throttle positioning sensor. 3 wires going to it. That was pretty neat. I don't know what they used it for. So I'm gonna plug throttle positioning sensor. This is the goes to the steering column, and then this goes up there. I wonder what that's for. Interesting. I figure you get a close up taking this here apart. So you got the throttle, looks like throttle positioning, and then there's 2 connectors up here and the top of the steering column. I just stuck a screwdriver behind it, kind of wiggled it, they popped right off. And then so this comes down and kind of plugs up underneath the steering column here. There's 2 clips on the sides. Put a screwdriver underneath, and so we get that out. So now all this could come over. So I'm gonna put the camera down and fish this over, lay it down. Just before I wing that over, I'm gonna throw some labels. Down there. Very nice. All right, open up a lot of space, and that wasn't too bad. Disconnect a couple things. I wasn't jacking around with the camera, just unplugging everything. I made like a minute. Yeah, that came apart pretty easy. Not much going on. Got a couple broken wires. Looks like they just kind of twisted them together. Fix those. Make sure the wires all match. Sweet. And we're back in the shop tonight. Working on the driver's side to get this panel out. I got the parking brake removed. There's these 2 bolts in the firewall. You get those on the engine side. And then there's 1 bolt here that sticks up into the dash. So those 3, this comes out. And then I disconnected looks like there's a sensor and then the cable right there. And I took the high beams off right there. Then I took the wheelhouse off, and then disconnect the firewall block, if you will, breakout. There's a bolt right here in the middle. Just loosen that up and pops right off. Then on the inside, I believe there's a couple bolts holding that on. So I'm going to loosen those up, and I should be able to get the rest of the harness out. So on the fuse block on the interior side, there were just 2 bolts holding that on. Up there like so, and whoop, that comes off. So that's loose. I just got to feed the wire up, and then the 1 wire that comes over to the door switch, and any other little wires that are still connected. I don't think there's really much. And then the whole harness should just come right out. It's actually not too bad. All right, so got the harness out. This was a pain. The 2 wires going to the door switch took like 100 pounds to pull off for some reason, but we got her. Fed everything out. So you can see the rear harness kind of comes up to the wall. There's to a bracket. There's 2 bolts holding right there. I'm going to take that off. Then I took off the cover underneath the steering wheel. And that's about it. So this will make it a lot easier to wire wheel the snot out of everything, treat the rust, throw some primer and paint on it, and then start to reassemble. But now that we got all this out of the way, I can work on getting this out. So I stuck the screwdriver up top, knocked it loose. I had to work on it. There was a little stage disassemble, but you get the idea. And then more from this angle. And then we got some really nice corroded screws going around. We're going to go ahead and back them out. And then, so we're going to go ahead and back those screws out, and this should start to come out. Got all the screws on the inside loose. I'm going to push on this, see what happens. There we go. Just trying to bust up all the seal around there. I'll go back on the inside. Try not to hit the banana spider over here. Yeah, let me put the camera down real quick. Dumb design. That is not going to be fun putting back in. Holy smokes, look at that mouse nest. That's what I call utchy. Ah, there we go. Yeah, it's not preferable, I would say. So now everything is, for the most part, stripped and removed from the dash. Now I think we could start getting to the paint work. Well, I guess I gotta take the harness off the wall right there and just peel her back out of the way, and then go to town on the firewall and whatnot. All right, it's probably a wrap for tonight. Made some good progress. Yeah, we'll get at her next time.